anytime you can get to your central conflict, which is what we've got here in the first page, do it. Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. In my personal, private, professional opinion, this is the book that made contemporary YA possible for the rest of us to write. Prior to this, in my experience, it was like, yeah, Judy Blume, and then you had adult. Like that was the difference. You can also make an argument for books like The Chocolate War or The Outsiders, things like that, some of those classics, which are phenomenal. But they didn't really have their own section in the bookstore until about this time, in my opinion. I could be wrong. That's my assessment. The first observation I have is that the book is not broken down into traditional chapters. There are several sections, starting with first marking period, and then it's broken into sections after that. So you don't see chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. That's a bold choice, not something you really see a lot of. It changes the pacing. When you're writing in sections versus chapters, it changes the ebb and flow of the action. Some of them are very long, some of them are very short, but it absolutely changes how you pace the story, which I think is a very bold choice, at least for this day and age when it was written back in '99. Why do you do that? I don't have an answer for you, but I want you as a reader and as a writer to ask yourself, why make that choice? Because somebody made this choice. Now, I don't know if it was Laurie. I don't know if it was her editor. I don't know if it was the marketing people. I don't know if it, whoever. Chances are good it was basically Laurie's idea and intention from the very beginning to have it mapped out in these sections as opposed to traditional chapters. And I think there are reasons she did it. I would ask you to not only read the book and decide for yourself why she might choose that, but why would you choose that? What are some reasons you would actively make that choice? Because one of the big words I use in just about every class I teach is the word deliberate. Somebody, somewhere in the production of this book, deliberately made a choice to break it into sections. Why? I don't know. Think about it. And I want you to be that deliberate as well. That's my point. Could we take this whole text and reformat it into a traditional manuscript format? Sure. Would we lose anything? I think we would. Like, the story would still fall the same, but it wouldn't be the same. It would be a different voice, and that's so crucial. One of my favorite examples in Party is to take the first few lines of Party and break them up into different types of paragraph. We could put them into one paragraph. We can break them up into multiple paragraphs. We can change the punctuation without changing any of the words, and each iteration changes the voice, and it changes how you will respond to that character as the reader. That's why we talk about being deliberate so frequently. Deliberate is so absolutely critical in my estimation. I always emphasize the importance of that first line in a novel, right? That first line really is just got to grab you with any luck if you've done your job, right? Here is the first line of Speak. It is my first morning of high school. I have 7 new notebooks, a skirt I hate, and a stomachache. That's it. That's one paragraph. 3 sentences. No, I'm sorry, 2 sentences. It is my first morning of high school, period. I have 7 new notebooks, a skirt I hate, and a stomachache. Why does that work? Does it work for you? Maybe it doesn't work for you. It works for me because I can respond to that. I understand it. It resonates with me. We know where we are. First morning of high school. We've all had a first morning of high school, and we can probably, to some degree or another, all remember it, right? So that's a universal for American teens. 7 new notebooks, okay, maybe 7 classes, I don't know, doesn't matter. A skirt I hate, okay, we can guess, we can presume the gender of the person speaking, and a stomachache. Yeah, been there, right? There's something about those 2 sentences, that one isolated little paragraph, that tells us so much. Doesn't tell us everything, doesn't have to tell us everything, but it tells us enough. It's enough of a hook to keep us going, and this is where voice comes into play. It's not a great sentence or pair of sentences in its construction or anything like that. What makes it a great sentence is the voice. I know this person. I might even be this person, right? So I think that's a very successful opening line. This is first person, present tense. I love that. I love the immediacy of first person and present tense because, and it's one of the reasons I've done it with Party and with so many of my novels. And it was advised to me by my first agent, when I was working on Party. Where'd it go? Party, there it is. Pick it up today. When I was working on Party, which I will move over here so you can see it hopefully. it was mixed with first person and third person. And my agent at the time, who was very hands-on, said, why don't you go back and try to make those third person first person? I was like, well, why should I do that? And she said, because your skill is with dialogue, and when you're in first person, your narration sounds more like dialogue, and it's just a little bit cleaner and it's more authentic to your voice. Why don't you give it a try? So I did, and we sold it to Random House for a shit ton of money. I don't know if that's why, but it certainly didn't hurt. Going first person present tense fiction doesn't get any more immediate than that, in my opinion. That doesn't mean you should. There are other, I'm working on a horror novel right now that's third person, just one perspective. It's not multiple perspective, but it is third person and it is past tense. Why is that third person past tense? Because anything could have happened. If this character is going to die, you won't know until the end because it's third person past tense, whereas it's very, very unlikely that this narrator is going to die because it's first person present tense. So third person and past tense, I think, allows for a different type of suspense than first person present tense does. But that first person present tense also allows me a lot more intimacy with the narrator, which I really like, particularly for this genre. And by the end of the second paragraph, I figure it's the best chance I have to make eye contact with one of my friends if any of them have decided to talk to me yet. That's the second paragraph. We're not even off of page 1, and already we have a conflict. If any of them have decided to talk to me yet, that's great. Anytime you can get to your central conflict, which is what we've got here in the first page, do it. Make every effort to try to do that, okay? That's, again, just an opinion, just a matter of taste. It's subtle, but it's in there, and I think it's brilliantly executed. She's just trying to get through her first day of high school. That's it. That's not, you wouldn't think you could hang an entire plot on the first day of high school. Turns out you can if you care. A story is something happening to someone we've been led to care about. By page 12 in this novel, I absolutely care about this narrator, even though I don't know her name. That's skill. That is an amazing ability to have, and we should try to emulate it as best we can. By the top of page 3, we have a secret. So we already have conflict. We know that the narrator is in conflict with her friends. We don't know what it is, but we also know she has a secret. There's something going on. If there's anyone in the entire galaxy I am dying to tell what really happened, it's Rachel. Well, we know Rachel's one of her friends who's not talking to her anymore, and now we know that if there's anyone in the entire galaxy I'm dying to tell, it's her. What is that? I don't know, but we're going to have to keep reading to find out. That little bit of mystery, when we talk about mystery and suspense, that try not to get caught up in the genre of that it's a mystery novel or a suspense novel. This is not a suspense novel. This is not a thriller. It's YA contemporary. But now there's mystery. Now there's suspense. If there's anybody I wanted to tell, if there's anybody I could tell, it would be her. Tell what? I don't know. So now I have to keep reading. Try to work that in. This is page 3. She is cramming so much great information into such a small space while staying true to the narrator's voice. Brilliantly executed, in my opinion. Virtually every paragraph in the first part of the book features a problem to solve. And if you go back and look at some of these most popular books like Speak, Hunger Games, things like that, you will find, I'm willing to bet, you will find that almost every paragraph, certainly every page, you will find a problem that is trying to be solved. Sometimes it's every paragraph, sometimes every page. I'd be willing to bet you it's every spread of 2 pages. You will find some little thing, or maybe a big thing, that the narrator or the main character is trying to solve. It's what keeps people hooked. Now, in the case of Speak, and these first few pages, it's very little thing. It's very small things. Like we're on second page, we've got, I don't have anyone to sit with. I am outcast. Okay, that's 1 paragraph. All we're doing is hanging out in the cafeteria trying to find a seat. That's it. But every paragraph, something is going a little bit wrong, and that's brilliant. In the 4th section, we are introduced to her first ally. Now, this takes several pages. This is more than 10 pages into the book. We meet her first ally, her art teacher. She doesn't say, I've met my new ally, the art teacher, or I really like this guy, or we're going to be good friends, or he's going to help me solve my problem. She doesn't say any of that. But we still learn that he is an ally. How do we do that? By her choice of words, by the things that the author and the narrator choose to highlight in the text and in the narration. For example, there's these small details like there's a radio in the classroom that is playing her favorite song. That's it. That's a small thing. But when our narrator, we'll find out her name is Melinda later, when Melinda comes into the art room, The teacher has the radio going and it's playing her favorite song. This is a safe place. This is a good place. But she didn't say it's a safe place. She didn't say it's a good place. She said, the radio is playing my favorite song. That is elegant. I love the elegance of that. Try to replicate that. Try to put those little details. Number one, it's not something she sees. It's so we're using a sense other than sight. Number two, she's using something that isn't just a narrated line. I felt X. I felt this way. I like this place. No, it's a radio is playing my favorite song. It tells us everything we need to know, and it's just beautiful.